All right, so let's change it up. Okay, so last week we discussed or spoke about how we went wrong and how we sold ourselves into slavery, and that it's actually just a mental thing. But now, how do we get out of this? And this took me back to an idea of Robert Kiyosaki's cash flow quadrant. Now, the quadrant is very simple. It's basically employees, E, S, B, and I. E is an employee quadrant. You basically exchange your time for money. If you don't work, you don't get paid. Uh, Most of us start in employee quadrants, and then as we get better at what we do, then we become self-employed, or you get specialists, things like doctors, lawyers. Doctors and lawyers can also be employees, working for a firm, for a hospital. But yeah, self-employed specialist. A mate of mine who's an architect, so he basically runs a little architect's firm. They go out to site, they draw pictures, and yeah, he's self-employed. If he's not drawing, he's not getting paid. Another mate's an accountant. If he's not crunching numbers, he's not getting paid. Okay, now on the left, so to say, you've got you work for money, and then on the right, it's more passively. So you get a business owner and an investor. Now, business owner can be someone who has a franchise model and he basically runs the advertising and marketing, and people have bought franchises, and those franchises would be a self-employed system. Something like a fast foods joint. We've got good old KFC. They sell franchises, and you basically buy out, and then you run according to formula. And each franchise on its own. The irony is most people don't think about it. Banking is also a franchise. Each bank has to actually make its own money, and then underneath the franchise of let's say the big bank itself, each branch runs its own little franchise. Well, we don't think about it that way, but the world is basically running on a franchise model. Okay, and then you get investors. These are people who take money, invest money, and the money works for them, and they get monies back. Now, this is all very nice, and this is how cash moves. But personally, you'll actually see that an employee is very much at a state of learning lessons from policy documents, or whatever, or experience, and then high character. They've got office hours, protocols to maintain, and this adjusts in. So that's why I put it top left. And self-employed, it's a mental model thing. So there you're actually focusing on how you're continuously reflecting. How can you improve your practice? How can you improve how you do your work? How can you're assessing the market, you're assessing how the world is moving, you're reflecting, and you're learning lessons so as to adjust and adapt your business to stay ahead. Business owners, they're always planning. That's their focus. They've got a task, and it's to advertise and market their businesses. So they're always planning how to actually expand the franchise. And then investors, well, they're at a point where implementation is at autopilot. They've invested money, and from that money is invested, they expect a return. Nowadays, it's also a little bit risky because of exchange rates, cost of living, petrol prices have gone up, but it's very much money driven. Now, this is where I want to swing it up a little. Let's change our model. The model stays the same, looks the same, but our focus on investment shouldn't be. This is maybe where I go back to a lesson taught by my dad. He always said, people always have to eat. People will always have spiritual needs. People will always have to have health and wellness, vitality, and people will always have to learn. So if you ever want a job, you pick one of those four. Growing food, ministry, blanking out now, health and wellness, so medical field of sorts. And that can be anything from chiropractics to surgery. And then obviously education. Now, I come from education, so I'm going to say, besides eating, spirit, and wellness, you've got to look at growth and development. Now, no nation will ever exist without people. No church exists without a congregation. No school exists without pupils or students. So, the greatest investment to make is not in business, which can come and go, but in the people of a community, of a tribe, of a country. And now we're looking for the business model that can actually do that. And yeah, with that, I'm gonna leave it there. But the greatest investment is in people, and showing people that the greatest thing they can do is invest in their growth, their development, their knowledge, their skills, their attitudes. And with that, with the right attitude, you can raise faith. And when we've raised faith, we can raise our hope. And if we've raised faith and hope, well, it's always based on a foundation of love. And I believe that's the foundation of this cornerstone. So let's go forward. Let's place our cornerstone for our new earth. Blessings for the day. And yeah, talk again.